because that's really what everybody has to understand about partner dance in general and any dance that requires a lot of physical contact, because technique matters if you're pressed up against someone for 12 minutes.
So how do we deal with different levels of experience of dance skills on the dance floor? Talking about the dynamics as part of parties, the social dynamics of forró, and also of tango. These are some of the topics that we talked in this podcast. I was a guest of Elizabeta in her podcast for her YouTube channel related to tango. She's a dancer, an instructor, and an influencer. We had a very interesting conversation about similarities and differences between these two different cultures, these two dance styles from South America, tango and forró.
You can be a very advanced dancer and know a lot of vocabulary, but you could be considered a beginner because your technique is really bad and your posture is really bad.
We have the same problem.
So the problems are actually exactly the same. It's just that they're a little bit even unspoken, because at least for you, you sort of, if you're talking about this school's methods, you're sort of dealing with like, okay, I know that person is considered advanced and I'm considered a beginner and I need to bridge that gap. But a lot of times in tango, it's sort of random, because certain people will feel that they're better than other people just by virtue of years that they've been dancing, but they are actually very much beginner. So there's a lot of like ambiguity in levels within the tango scene. And then you will have a lot of tension at tango parties, milongas, where advanced dancers a lot of times will choose to dance with certain people and not others. And then others complain that certain people are being very choosy and they're not dancing with everyone. So there's, it creates the same, I guess, difficulties.
Challenges, yeah. And
Yeah.
I feel, I don't know, I just imagine that, especially having a scene where the way things work and you're expected to dance the four songs.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
complicated. It's complicated. Because
Yeah.
for the, if I go to a party, I'm totally fine, and I like to dance with people who are starting, because I like to give them an incentive to dance. I like to welcome new people. I want new people in the scene, so I
Right.
dance with everybody. But I would choose a song, a 3-minute song,
Yeah,
not a 12-minute sequence to dance with
Exactly.
someone who is just starting.
Thank you for validating my tango dancer's anxiety about this, because that's really what everybody has to understand about partner dance in general and any dance that requires a lot of physical contact, because technique matters if you're pressed up against someone for 12 minutes.
And then I have a question for you, because sometimes someone who can be a dancer is attracted to, but is not necessarily an advanced dancer or a very good dancer. But you still want to interact with that person because you are interested in the person, not necessarily on the dance skills. How people balance. Myself, for example, I would rather dance with a very mediocre dancer who is very nice, like good personal hygiene, smelling good, excited about dancing, about the interaction, than dancing with someone who is a very advanced dancer, has a lot of skills in the dance floor, but have that grumpy face, doesn't smile, doesn't look me in the eye, and it's like, I would rather dance with someone who I can have like a very nice interaction and like exchange of energy and good vibes, than someone who is very skilled, but who I will not create the same interaction and or be pleasant as a person. I don't know if you see something similar.
I think I see probably the exact opposite in tango.
Interesting.
The exact opposite. Yeah. Good energy from a person is icing on the cake, but the technique is going to prevail a lot of times for people, because it's just, unless, there might be an exception to what I'm saying. If you're really good friends with someone, like I have very close friends that I might not be great dancers, but I just dance with them because I love them as people, right? There's that. But if I'm like going to a marathon or a festival, I'm not looking at the charisma necessarily. I'm looking at posture and I'm looking at technique first. And then if I dance with them and they happen to be a really great person on top of it, that's awesome. And maybe if they're not, at that point, I can decide and be like, yeah, they're great, the great technique, but maybe I don't really like them as a person. That forms later. And it's much more critical from the perspective of the followers towards the leaders. The followers are more critical of the leaders because they're not in control as they are following, right? But as a leader, I'm a little bit more lenient because I can decide what goes, right? Like I'm the one who's going to decide how the dance evolves. So I'm a little bit more forgiving of followers with less technique than I am of leaders with less techniques.
If you like this conversation and want to listen the full episode, the full conversation, it's available at Elizabeta's channel. I'm going to put the link here in the description. I also selected another excerpt, very interesting topic, to share with you here on the channel. You can just click over there. And if you want to learn more about our activities here in New York City, about online courses, learn with us and come dance with us, I invite you to visit forronewyork.com. I hope to see you very soon, either there, here on the link, or on the full episode here in the description of this video. Bye-bye.